Good morning, everyone. Today we have the great honor of getting to talk with the Grammy Museum Mississippi. With us is the Executive Director, Miss Emily Havens, along with the Executive Director of the Community Foundation and President of the Maddox Foundation, Miss Robin Hurdle, and of course Keith there with the Community Foundation as well. Welcome, guys. Thank you all so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, absolutely. We're so excited about all the great things that are going on there at the Grammy Museum and just the plethora of opportunities and things that the museum offers. And so we're excited to get to talk a little bit about that. I know I told you, Emily, earlier that having been a music kid, doing the research on the Grammy Museum and all the things that you do and your exhibits and your educational programs kind of had me geeking out. So this is going to be a really, really fun discussion, and we're super excited to jump into it. So why don't you tell us a little bit about the Grammy Museum?
So yeah, I would love to. Thanks for having me today and talking about this great place in Mississippi. So the Grammy Museum, we turned 5 years old in early 2021, and it's been an incredible journey so far. And we're looking forward to great things in 2021. We are situated right in the Mississippi Delta. We have about 28,000 square feet here. We have a great front porch, as you should in Mississippi, and a great front yard, like you should in Mississippi, that includes a great space for outdoor live performances and community space for events. And we're just really proud of our building. We also are situated right by Delta State University, and we'll talk in a minute, I'm sure, about education. And so we're really thankful to be next door neighbors with a great educational institution in Delta State University and partner with them in the Delta Music Institute program, as well as their music department and other places on campus. So we're excited about that. We have about 13,000 square feet in exhibit space, and we have about 50% of our exhibits are all interactive, and we've got beautiful artifacts, all different genres. The museum is a curation of all genres, especially the ones that were born here in Mississippi. And Mississippi at one point had more Grammy winners than the next 5 states combined per capita. And so I think that this is the reason why this museum is here. And so we're excited to be able to share that with our students across the state and the region. We're excited to be able to share that with visitors. We've had visitors from 48 different countries, and we've had over 27,000 students visit alone, well over 100,000 visitors since we've been open. And it's just a great space. One of my favorite things to do is when visitors enter the Mississippi Gallery, which we have a great space that's devoted to Mississippi. They're always amazed when I walk in there and I hear them saying, "Oh, I didn't know so-and-so was from Mississippi," or "I didn't know Charlie Pride was from Mississippi," or Muddy Waters, or Jimmy Buffett, or Britney Spears, or whoever it is. It's all the artists that's in that gallery that we celebrate. And so many people don't know that they were from here. And I think when people see the Mississippi map and they see all the Grammy winners and the Grammy nominees and the Hall of Fame winners and the Lifetime Achievement winners, then they realize this is why this is in Mississippi. We teach an incredible workshop called Why Mississippi that really talks about our legacy and our history in music. And so we're able to share that with not only, it was interesting, we created that workshop to share with kids. And so we love to show them like their most their favorite artists, like Taylor Swift or artists today. And then we can show them how they link back to Mississippi, how they were influenced by Mississippians. And so that's why we created this workshop. Well, then we had visitors, specifically American Queen and tour groups that were like, we want to have the workshop. So we adapted it to do an adult workshop as well. And we provide that as well. But it's important to share our history. I love for them to choose their artist now and then to dig back into history and see how that artist is truly connected to this state. We have a great temporary gallery where we've had several exhibits over the years, from the Beatles to Stevie Ray Vaughan to Taylor Swift to Mary Wilson of the Supremes, of course, from Mississippi. John Lee Hooker from Mississippi. We were able to open that exhibit on what would have been his 100th birthday. And so that was crazy fun. Both his daughters were here with their husbands. His uncle Archie was here for that opening. And so it's a great space to be able to share share all this wonderful music history, America's music history, as well as Mississippi's.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of people don't understand, how vital Mississippi has been in producing music and contributing to America's music culture. And so that's an important factor that you guys are offering there, and so exciting. I remember even myself learning in Mississippi studies all about the famous people that came from Mississippi, and it was a very exciting thing. So we're very glad to see that you guys are offering that and continuing to educate people on that. And at the core of every museum is education. That's the whole point. It's there is to preserve history and to educate people on things. And you guys offer some extensive programming, very impressive extensive programming for different school groups, and they're at the museum. So why don't you walk us through that and tell us a little bit more about some of the specific programs that y'all offer?
Yeah, I would love to. It's, just real quick, my background, I was an executive with Chickasaw Council in Memphis for 18 years for the Boy Scouts. And, I was excited to be a part of this board when this museum was announced to be in Mississippi and specifically in Cleveland. And I never dreamed that I would, be the executive director, and because I had such a wonderful position in helping and doing programming for youth. And then I had the opportunity to realize that this is going to be a great visitors asset to the state and a place, but more importantly, it was going to be an educational institution. And at that point is when I was like, I can provide these programs for both boys and girls now. And so it was really a great turning point for me to be able to realize and to be a part of the education mission that we have here at the museum. So we offer museum tours, of course. We not only offer, well, first of all, that we have the tours. And so we have great interactives, like I said earlier, but we have also recently received 32 iPads from a donor. And so we were able to take the exhibits that were more of just artifacts and make them come alive. So for example, in iconic instruments, there is B.B. King guitar, Lucille. And so now we have loaded all of these iPads with where kids can hold the iPads and they can see B.B. King playing that guitar, or Miles Davis playing that horn, or the sitar, or the inside of a sitar. So we've tried to even take our existing artifacts, or like there's a beautiful the famous chicken outfit that CeeLo Green wore in the Grammys, and it's of him performing in that chicken. So it just brings it more alive when kids realize, oh my goodness, that is really the outfit that he was wearing, and there he is performing. So we've done that. We also have exhibit activities. We have lesson plans that we send out free to all educators. And when they book a tour at the museum, we send out these lesson plans. So that just if they'll go through the lesson plans with the classes on museum etiquette, even on museum etiquette and how to act in the museum and respect. But also we have a great group, but we call them the Dream Team. And they're local educators, retired educators from our community. And they help us write these lesson plans. And so the lesson plans go along with our exhibits. And so then when the students come, it's just a more meaningful experience because they've had the background of what they're going to see. We have scavenger hunts that, kids love to do scavenger hunts. And our music museum is, of course, math is music. It's science. It's history. It's English, when you read the captions and you read the content and you learn about the history. And so it's all of these things. And so we really try to help teachers find ways, not just music teachers, but how science teachers can incorporate music into their lesson plans and how math teachers can do it. And so we really try hard to do those things and provide those resources free of charge for educators. We also have workshops. One of my favorite things is the workshops. We have, of course, DJ workshops where we teach kids how to DJ. We've also done an adult class on DJ, and it is a lot of fun. I've got some great videos I'll have to share with you later on some of our board members trying to be a DJ. But we do drumming workshops, and we teach, we have sound shapes for little ones in first grade, to drum along with someone teaching drumming. We also teach jazz workshops and the music of movies, The Great Gatsby. We teach workshops in, like I said, Why Mississippi, or behind the Grammy Awards and behind the scenes. And so we do a lot of those kind of things. Some of my favorite ones are artists. We bring in an artist, and I'm just going to tell you that they're powerful. We've had artists, Benjamin Wright, you probably have not heard of him. Maybe some of you have. He's from Greenville, Mississippi. He's a composer. He's very, very, very successful. And he told the story, and he told a group of, they were from JFK in North Bolivar County and junior high and high school. And he told the story about being kicked out of school during segregation when he was in 7th grade. His parents have a 6th and 2nd grade education. He moved to Chicago and put himself through school there, and he did session work. And, he told that story to these kids, and his work is Beyonce and Aretha Franklin and Michael Jackson. And, they knew all the stars that he's worked for, and they could hear the strings in his music when we played it. But then he told them, he said, I had to be ready. He said, I've never had a drink of alcohol. I've never done drugs. And he said, I've, all these things because I wanted to be ready when I got that call. And you know who the call was from? Well, it was from Quincy Jones. And so he did Michael Jackson's first solo album. Those are the powerful messages. And he told these kids, he said, you've got to be different. You've got to work hard and be different. Mary Wilson told a powerful story about their time in Detroit and the death of one of the Supremes. And it was just a powerful of Florence Ballard. It was powerful. And those are the kind of stories that our students get to hear. They hear Mavis Staples in front of them and ask her questions about how it was to march with Martin Luther King, and how and about their father's pop's relationship with Martin Luther. So it's really amazing things that we're able to get in front of kids and to teach here. So I love the workshops part of it. We do a lot of workshops. We've certainly had Garth Brooks, and we've had Eddie Shank Willis and Bobby Rush and Charlie Musselwhite, and we've done a lot of these, and these artists give their time graciously to come and do education. So we offer that. We also offer instrument lessons. We not only offer instrument lessons, we've actually had the opportunity to give away about 60 guitars and about 12 ukuleles to kids, and then teach a 12-week instrument lessons free of charge, of course. And that's been powerful. We started with all guitars, and then we found out that for 4th and 5th graders, their hands are a little bit smaller, of course. And so starting with 4 strings and the ukulele really gave them the confidence to maybe jump to the guitar next. So they found themselves really successful. They could play a song much quicker than they could on a guitar. And so that's been a big and successful part of what we're doing. And then our summer camps. This year was virtual. Of course, everything is a little bit different. I'm sure we'll talk about that in a minute. But summer camps, we have a residential for the 15 to 20-year-olds. We have day camps for 9 to 14. But what's impressive is these kids they learn instrument lessons. They learn about the music industry. One day they learn songwriting and live performance. And at the end of camp, they perform. They also record all their music. They perform for an audience. And I can't remember exactly, but I think the 9 through 14-year-olds recorded 13 original songs, and the 15 to 20-year-olds recorded 19. Yeah. Not in 1 week time. These are kids from all over that came together, didn't know each other. They worked together. And I love one of the ones, and we have it recorded. I'll have to get a video of it, but it's a white kid from here and a black kid from here. They wrote a song about football because that's what they know, right? They're young kids who play football, and they talk about loving all the same things, but being different, and how they can still enjoy the things of childhood and be different. And you're talking about a 9-year-old doing that. It's powerful. And so those are the things that get us excited about the museum. We certainly get excited, especially now when we see a group pull up. But we really get excited when we have kids that come in here and we open their eyes up and opportunities. And I will tell you, the virtual world has given us some opportunities to connect young musicians all across the world to each other. Our summer camp this year was virtual and free, of course. And we had kids from all over the country, from Tutwiler, Mississippi to California, that were connected for a full week of summer camp. And those will be lessons that they'll experience and learn from for the rest of their lives.
Absolutely. And Keith, your kids have actually participated in a couple of these programs there at the Grammy Museum. And so what was that experience like for them and for you as a parent?
Well, I just want to give accolades to Emily and the Grammy Museum. I lived in Cleveland for 23 years and blessed to work at Delta State University, which offered a lot of opportunities for children. And so we were very blessed having activities, but the Grammy Museum just gave us a whole different avenue and venue for exploring our children's talents. So my daughter, Mariana, she did take part in the ukulele event. And that, as Emily said, it was free. We just couldn't believe free. And so she went, I believe, Emily, how many weeks? Was it
12? It was 12 weeks.
Yeah, and did a performance. And of course, I was there with my camera, video, and everything, taking photos. So, as a parent, it just gives you that great joy. I had to take her to, when we bought her ukulele, we even bought her a ukulele after that. And she wanted her own personal ukulele, and Trisha Walker tuned it up for her. So we were down at the coffee shop. Emily and I got pictures of Trisha Walker tuning it with Mariana sitting beside her. My son John took part in the Garth Brooks event. How many weeks was that guitar lessons?
12 weeks as well.
And that was donated by, was it?
We worked with we worked in partnership with Follow Your Heart Foundation, which is out of Grenada, Mississippi, as well as the Mississippi Delta National Heritage Area grant to provide those programs.
So my son John got to every day after once a week after school, Wednesday, he would walk from school to the Grammy Museum, and just seeing him with that guitar on his back walking down the street, I could see him out my office window walking into the Grammy Museum with the guitar on his back, and he just loved being around his friends who were in the class. Emily's son was in the class with him, and he got to meet Garth Brooks, and he didn't know Garth Brooks, didn't really care too much about him. And I kept saying, John, you're going to meet Garth Brooks. And he'd get on stage and play with him. Until we Googled Garth Brooks, and he saw that his net worth was $200 million, and his eyes got this big.
Yeah.
And he did get on stage with the Garth Brooks, and they were supposed to play little chords, and they were supposed to have practiced. And Garth Brooks told John, said, "You don't know what you're doing. Just go sit down." That was John's interaction with Garth Brooks, and he loved it. So yes, but we've been to this Taylor Swift exhibit, Emily. That Taylor Swift exhibit. You talk about a made-for-reality TV show, the Taylor Swift exhibit with the Ferris wheel, children and families everywhere. So when Emily says family-friendly, it is the hub of family activity in this region, not just the Cleveland zip code, but the entire region.
Yeah, we really do. I appreciate that. And we have several times a year, we have Family Day in partnership with King's Daughters Circle No. 2 Foundation. And that we have free admission, during the day. Of course, members are always free, but we have free admission for them. I think about, we've had one of the biggest ones we've had was the Supremes. We had a Motown music live on the porch, a local band that played Motown all day long. And to see, such diverse audience and families come together to help their kids do live art, to watch live music, to be able to participate in workshops as a family, have food trucks, those kind of things. It's a great place to be able to provide such a great community service and be a part of that. And I will tell you that most every week there was a box of chips at the back door of the museum, and Keith would text me during instrument lessons and say, "Hey, I left snacks for the kids." So he would always provide snacks for our kids. So it is a real family affair for sure.
Absolutely. And now he's providing food boxes with the community foundation.
That's right. He's passionate.
All across our area. So it's very on par for him. And so
yes.
One of the most impressive things that I found looking over some of the curriculum things that you guys had on your website, and even through the teacher workbook that you guys provide for free, is that all of your curriculum that you guys make there in-house and all of this programming is actually done to coincide with the curriculum that's already passed by the state, meaning that you guys are, when you're talking about science and history, you're taking into things all the Common Core requirements that come from the state, so that when these teachers take these resources back to their school, and when these kids come visit the museum, it's already lined up with what they're supposed to be learning in the classroom.
Right. And I'll tell you that that the dream team that I mentioned earlier, and being able to have that kind of advisory board, these are all programs that we've created in-house. This is not anything that we've paid other people to create for us. We have been able to do it in-house, and I'm so thankful that we're going to be able to have an education person again, because I mean, this is the things that, you know, she does. And so we're really excited to be able to do that again, because we do try to align everything. We want this to be an important part of what classrooms do annually. And we've seen that. You mentioned Lewisburg earlier before we started recording, but Lewisburg is one of our biggest days at the museum. In fact, Lewisburg is 2 days at the museum. We do 4th grade one day and 5th grade the other day, and Cleveland is bombarded by about 600 kids 2 days every year from Lewisburg, and we're so thankful for that. We're so thankful that they make that their annual trip, and this, you know, the same thing with, there's several schools around the state that do that, but they see the value and they come back. In fact, in 2018, about 35% of all the students that visited the museum attended a workshop. In 2019, that number jumped to about 57%. So they were our teachers are seeing the value of these workshops. And of course, it's wonderful to come and do the tour and to do the exhibits and activities. But when you also do a workshop, it's just a more meaningful, a deeper experience. And so we were seeing on trend, seeing an increase in our workshops. And so we hope we'll go back to that when we get a little bit further past the vaccine and what we're going through now in the pandemic. But I mean, it's great opportunities. And, you know, I love to see the kids walk in, and one of the first things that we do when they're in the lobby, we introduce them to all of the artists that we have images of in the lobby. And my favorite one is Leontine Price. And so we talk about Leontine, and we talk about her, you know, 42-minute standing ovation, world record standing ovation in the Met. And I try to make that, you know, bring that back to kids, going, that's about as long as it's longer than a Disney show. So they realized just how long that she was applauded for her performance. And she's from Mississippi, and we celebrate her every single day here at the museum. So they don't know who Leontine is when they get here. They certainly do when they leave. And so, and that's, you know, it's opening up kids' eyes to a bigger world and bigger opportunities. And we try to bring in artists, and we don't just bring in artists, we bring in lighting professionals and managers so that they know how hard it is to make it in the music industry. But you always aren't going to be Taylor Swift on stage, but there's 2,000 people backing her up in her life, working for her, you know? And so maybe you can be that person. And so just showing different opportunities and hoping they'll use their talents. And our hope and goal is that someday somebody's going to be standing on the stage at the Grammy Awards, and they're going to say, we got our start in Cleveland, Mississippi, you know, at summer camp or at a songwriting workshop. And so anyway, that's a big goal, but it's certainly something that we aspire to for sure.
And so how has all of this changed amidst the pandemic, dealing with COVID-19? What are some of the challenges that you guys have faced, the things you've done to meet those challenges, and some of the safety precautions you guys are taking now?
So immediately, you know, we closed in March. We did not reopen until middle of July. And during that time, we immediately, you know, did all the safety and the health protocols, and we had to write a reopening plan to make sure that we aligned with anything that the CDC and the State Department of Health and those kind of departments and agencies handled. And we also at the same time had to start switching our education programs, our model that we had just really, you know, gotten going on, just have been open for 3 years or a little over 3 years at that point. So anyway, what we have done is our education, we now do offer virtual. We offer 3 types of workshops right now. You can do it. We have pre-recorded some of our most popular ones. We can send that link out to classrooms. We also offer a in-person, of course, still, but we also offer the opportunity for to have a live live workshop virtually, where you have actually the workshop teacher or one of us is actually teaching it, and they can interact with you in live time or real time. Public programming, we've done some streaming events. We did continue to try to put out artifacts. We've got a great content, and so we tried to continue to engage our members and our communities by maybe sending out an artifact of the day by social media. We also did songwriting workshops. We did a great workshop with I Fly Awake Foundation out of Arkansas, and we connected musicians from England all over this country. And so it has opened up a lot of doors that we had not really explored. I don't think those doors will ever close again, and I'm thankful for that. We'll continue to do some virtual and some opportunities to reach kids. And I'll tell you, one of the biggest obstacles for students, it's not the $5 that it costs to come to the museum sometimes. It's the hundreds of dollars it costs for transportation to get to the museum. So for example, we had a group out of Biloxi, and it was only 10 kids. So we're looking at $50 in admission. That's not, we can scholarship that if we need to, but it was the $900 it was going to cost for the buses to get to Cleveland and then back. And so this gives us another opportunity to reach them, and hopefully they'll still make it here one day, but we can still provide some sort of education to them now virtually, and sending workshops to their classroom or doing a virtual tour or, those kind of things. And so we're trying to adapt, of course. We have, like I said, we had our first gala and it was a virtual, and it was very successful. And I think all of us were a bit surprised by it. Yeah. But we had just Monday night, we had our annual Have Yourself a Delta Little Christmas, and we sold well over 200 tickets to a virtual event. And in fact, people were still buying tickets today, and it was Monday. So I think that people are starting to definitely enjoy programming from their living rooms. I just hope that they'll come back out. Right. It's when it's safe to do so.
Come enjoy this big, beautiful building that you have there.
Right.
And you talked a little bit about this, of the education outreach coordinator, and in that position that you guys are opening back up so that you can better coordinate with these schools and get these great educational resources and programs into the hands of more kids, which Maddox Foundation was super glad to, grant $50,000 for that. And so tell us a little bit more about that position, and really how that is going to enhance the work and the mission of the Grammy Museum.
Yeah, definitely. And of course, we're so thankful for this opportunity. So just historically, and I just mean of the last several years, about 80% of all of our education has been done in the museum and 20% out. And I'll just tell you, 20% out has been Quitman County. They asked us one time if we could come there and teach a workshop. So we went there and taught a racial healing workshop that we created during Black History Month. And so we also had a wonderful lady come from Chicago, Tessa, and she taught a workshop on how to, she developed a prosthetic arm that plays the guitar. And so she taught kind of a STEM workshop here at the museum. Well, we also took her to an area school that had a computer lab that she was able to teach that. So we had kind of done a little bit of outreach and tried to do that. I should say that, currently we have 4 people on staff, so we're a little short staffed. So we have not been able to do a whole lot of that. So this is going to give us an opportunity right now to do more outreach because right now we will do more education outside the museum for the next several months, and maybe even into the fall that we'll do more outreach than we will have people coming into the museum. So I'm imagining that our instrument lessons will be outside the museum. So for example, this person would maybe go to Hernando and teach a 12-week program once a week, or to Rosedale, Mississippi, or to Greenville, Mississippi. And so kind of do that kind of thing, but also have somebody, we also now can not only do the workshops I talked about earlier about things that we've recorded and workshops we've created, we could do artist workshops. So that may be getting an artist to do a Zoom workshop with kids in a classroom, right? Yeah. They don't have to be here at the museum, and the artist doesn't have to be here in the museum. So we're going to now start working on trying to get people to do, and we may have even better luck because you don't have to, travel. So we'll ask artists and musicians and industry professionals to do workshops for classrooms all over. And so we're starting to try to build that now. We'll start that in January and really put out our a full year of what we're planning on doing programming in early January. But we're going to be able to do that with this position because we've not had anybody through COVID able to have anybody just focus strictly on education and what we're trying to do. And I'll tell you another big piece of what we're doing is professional development and working with Delta State to certify those CEUs. Teachers don't always have a lot of opportunity to do professional development free of charge. And so we have done 2 so far virtually, and they were really well received. And so if we don't have the kids coming here on the daily basis right now, we can educate and to train more teachers so that they can use it and reach more kids in their classrooms. And so we're going to start really doing a lot more professional development and then having them work through the final processes and then have those CEUs certified at Delta State. So I'm really thankful. I'm thankful for Delta State. Our partnership grows every year. It was with DMI and the music department. We work with their marketing department. We work with, we're going to work with the education department on this. And so we're really thankful to be a part of the community, of the education community too. So.
Absolutely. And our thing here with Maddox Foundation is we want to make signature investments that create an indelible legacy. And so for us, we're looking at things that are really going to change the face of the communities that we serve. We're not looking for Band-Aids or, just to give away money for the sake of giving away money. We're wanting to make a real difference and change, like I said, the face of the communities we serve. And so we're so excited to see how this is going to impact the teachers, the schools, the kids that you guys are servicing, and to better equip them with these educational resources that you guys have. And so thank you for all of your hard work and everything that you guys are doing to make that happen. It is truly profound and inspiring.
Thank you so much. And thank you for the support of Maddox Foundation. We really could not do it without you. And I think, it definitely won't be a Band-Aid. It's going to be a lasting effect on these kids, but I think we'll be able as a community to see results very quickly because we're going to be able to really put some of these initiatives in place very quickly and move forward. And I'm very excited about it.
Yeah, I love the professional development aspect of it. I think having teaching the teachers is really the way to impact the children, the way to impact the future generation. So I'm excited about that.
Us too. Thank you very much. And like you said, it's not about just the music teachers. It's about putting music in every classroom because it's such a great way to teach, no matter what subject that you're teaching in primarily in classrooms.
My high school choir director actually won second place for the state of Mississippi in the science fair when she was in high school because she did her science fair project based off of what she had learned in choir and in band. But she did a science project on how sound travels. And so using your vocal cords and how different shapes of horns and things like that produce sound. And it went all the way to the state level and won second place with that. So yeah, it's a lot more than just, history of music itself. There's a lot of science and math that goes into it as well that That's sometimes right. people don't realize. And so just for our viewers kind of in closing here, what are some ways that they can get involved with the Grammy Museum and they can support all of these great things that you guys are doing?
Oh, well, that would be wonderful. Come visit us. Of course, right now we're just open Thursday through Sunday. And when it's safe to do so, we would feel safe. We would love to have people come and visit. Sign up for our newsletter. It takes just about 30 seconds. It probably only take Keith about 5. But sign up for our newsletter and stay in touch with us and our programming and announcing our programming, our education workshops and things like that. Join the museum. Our museum membership start at just $75. And of course, they go up from there depending on benefits. But of course, your museum membership is definitely an investment in music education. We just launched, you can make donations in memory and in honor of a loved one or special one in your life. And so you can do that online as well or call one of us. And overall, just talk about the museum. So many people, I did a podcast earlier this morning with a lady from Chicago, and people don't know about this great museum in our state and around the country. And so the more people talk about it and what we're doing, the more we'll be able to continue to fulfill our mission, reach our arms out a little bit further. And that's what we're trying to do, raise some awareness.
Absolutely. Well, thank you again for all the great work that you guys are doing there at the Grammy Museum. And thank you, Keith and Miss Robin, for joining us today. Yes. We appreciate it. Know that definitely lives are being changed and we're doing some great things together. So we appreciate that very much.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.